We're talking with the great Rod Martin. We're talking about space, something he wrote about in his Substack, which, by the way, his Substack is amazing every day. You know, whether he's talking about Davy Crockett and how it set the future for America, or whether he's talking about taking Starship into space and changing the military landscape forever. You want to get Rod Martin's brilliance. So go to rodmartin.org and sign up for a Substack. It's incredible. Bottom line is, Rod, we were talking about the economics. This economic war room. You gave a brilliant view on how Elon Musk can produce 1,000 Starships in 3 years, and that could literally transform the military landscape of planet Earth. Not to mention the potential to deliver people on, you know, I'm not going on a cruise, I'm going to take a 40-minute flight and I'm going to end up in London or in Tanzania or wherever you want to go. But how do you do that without reusability? I don't think you can, you don't, but good news, this is reusable. Explain the economics of that.
Well, it's just extraordinary. If you think about getting on an airplane at Love Field and flying to Los Angeles, fly on Southwest, you're on a 737. Okay. What if you threw the thing away after the flight, built a new one to fly back to Dallas, and threw it away too? I mean, that's what NASA's been doing since the 50s. And it's really crazy. I mean, Elon actually spent about $1 billion to develop reusability. And okay, that's a lot of money, except NASA has about a $20 billion a year budget. Defense Department has an even bigger space budget, you know, on average over all these decades. They could have done this a long time ago, but there are a lot of political reasons they didn't. And honestly, Boeing and Lockheed didn't care. They're making money on these cost-plus contracts. Why should they innovate? And this space industrial complex has honestly stolen our future. It's just horrifying. And Elon has given it back to us. And it's not really dissimilar from what you did see 100 years ago. The federal government actually played an important role in creating the modern airline and air freight industry by outsourcing the delivery of airmail. And they didn't do it internally, and they didn't pick just one or two companies to do it with. It pretty much, if you could fly the mail and you could qualify for the contract, you're in. And that created a boom in aircraft manufacturing and in airlines.
Let me just jump in with a personal story on that. I've studied Eddie Rickenbacker at great length, and Rickenbacker was running that mail at Eastern Airways, and FDR decided to take it away from the private contractors, internalize it, and put it on the Army Air Corps, which of course caused fighter pilots didn't know how to fly airmail across the country. And that's why one of the reasons Rickenbacker also hated socialism. But your point is incredible. How do we went from, 100 years ago where we have the first flights? We go from Kitty Hawk in how many years to land a man on the moon? And the worst part of it is when the government's involved in it. The best part of it was entrepreneurs like Elon Musk.
Yeah, and you have to facilitate that with laws that permit such entrepreneurship, which simply did not exist until pretty recently. And I have to hand it's the only thing I can praise Barack Obama for. It was actually his NASA that started making some of the regulatory changes that made some of this possible, particularly under Lori Garver, who is a Democrat, and we don't agree with her on much, but we certainly agree with her on this. So anyway, bottom line, these things are fabulously valuable. You know, if you've got a 737 and you can fly it a whole bunch of times, that's crazy valuable. And you can go see your grandma and you can go on business trips. If you had to replace it every single time, the ticket cost would go up to about $437,000 for a one-way ticket.